Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parents. In today's episode, father just leaves disabled son at the gate. Parasitic mother-in-law wants to use me as her retirement plan. Entitled parent ruins wedding. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Father just leaves disabled son at the gate. So, my son goes to a special needs school. Last week, they started a school summer holiday club running over 2 weeks. My son went last week and there were some spaces left for this week and he was lucky enough to get another spot. Yesterday a boy turned up and me and the other parents didn't realize anything was off until the organizer asked why he was there and she had told him that there wasn't a space for him on Friday. She asked where his dad was and he said he left. This man dropped his son off and just drove off. The school had no choice but to take him. I couldn't help myself but say to my friend, who does that? So I turned up this morning and guess what? He showed up again and went to drive off again. Luckily the son had left his bag in the car, so one of the other workers flagged the father down. I have no idea what the organizer said to him or whether they sent the boy home. I guess I will find out this afternoon when I pick my son. But, what the hell, these are seriously vulnerable children. I wouldn't even just leave a child with no special needs without making sure they go into the building. For context, these children are under 16s. So yeah, just wanted to vent. Update 3rd of August, so here is an update. I didn't get the info on what happened yesterday, but he showed up this morning. The father did come to the gate, but only stayed for a minute and got in his car and left before the children were let in. I'm assuming they must have worked something out. It still upset me again that he just left him there, but I kept an eye on him until they were let in. The school should have called the police and reported the father for child abandonment. Exactly what I was thinking. They should have informed the father that if he doesn't pick up the kid, they will contact the police or even CPS. Wow, unbelievable. I have a 13-year-old special needs son. I can't imagine just dropping him off without an adult there to take responsibility. Like a teacher, caretaker, someone. I have people do this at my salon. They just drive up, kick the kid out, and leave. The child just comes in confused and unable to communicate what they need or want and cannot pay. So I have to try to communicate, which makes them nervous, and then they just sit in the waiting room after for a long time looking lost, trying to call and text mom, but she's too busy shopping to care. We aren't a daycare. It's horrible. Multiple moms do this. They just leave, and sometimes special needs kids have meltdowns or freak out and start grabbing my tools or trying to spray water everywhere, and I'm not trained how to handle these sorts of things, so I get nervous and it takes way longer to cut their hair, which ruins my whole day. That's so wrong. I used to work in an aftercare center and I had a thick file for all of my special needs kids: who to call, what to do with medications, how to handle/avoid trigger issues, information on the level of supervision they required, the accommodations they needed, etc. For a custodial parent to drop off a child without any documentation or information or a reliable contact number is inexcusable. It sounds like this student regularly attends this school, so they have all the information on the student. Looks like the issue is his dad drops him off knowing there isn't a spot for his son on those days, which is entirely disrespectful and unsafe because ratios must be met to ensure the safety of everyone there. What a turd. For all of you making excuses for this POS, just stop. Parenting is hard. Parenting a child with special needs is harder. But you don't just get to drop your child off and run. Even a child without special needs has to be formally signed into a daycare/day camp with any instruction noted, lunchbox handed over, etc. And this sounded more like someone who wanted his child to be in the holiday club, whether there was space or not. That is a call to immediately come get the kid, or the alternate contact to come get them, or the police for abandonment. policy every place I had childcare was that you had to take them inside and sign the physical logbook with your signature and basically formally hand over your child to their care, so that the legal niceties were covered, and they also could keep track of what kids were there that day, etc. Parasitic mother-in-law wants to use me as her retirement plan. My husband's mother, 62, is useless. Refuses to work. She was homeless several times because she would rather be homeless than work. My husband makes decent money, so he bought her a small house. It just irks me how much we work and how she expects us to care for her. I'm also annoyed how my husband bought her a car. The car has to be in his name too, or else she will sell it for the cash. I'm also aggravated my husband is giving her money, even though he hates to, because we are going through expensive infertility treatments. We don't combine finances. He makes more than double than me, and is much older, yet I have way more money in savings than him. I don't want my money attached to him, when he is still attached to his mom. Does anyone have any advice? Thank you so much. Edit her husband divorced her years ago. He says she's crazy, he's right. Edit, for been reading each comment and I thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate it. You opened my eyes at how screwed up this really is. We are holding off on having kids now. Maybe don't have kids with him if you don't like the arrangement, it will never get better, only more expensive. Yup, this OP listened to your body. Clearly it doesn't want a kid with this guy. Don't bother with the infertility treatments. I feel like in situations like this the person's body is trying to tell them something, namely this person won't be a good person to parent with, don't do it. Came for this. If you don't even want to commingle finances, why on earth do you want to commingle DNA and force another human to live in that situation? Scary part about her driving a car in his name is that if she causes an accident or kills someone or runs into somebody's house, your husband is liable. And if you are in the US in a community property state, it is possible that you could be liable also. Let hubby know that he needs to grow a backbone. Let him know that if he passes before she does, you will let her end up homeless because you will not be paying for someone who won't take care of themselves and isn't a child. I hope the house is in his and your names, not hers. Run. He is an enabler and his mom is toxic. Do not have kids. When she crashes the car in his name, you both will be sued as a married couple. Entitled Parent Ruins Wedding. First time posting here, fair warning I'm jet lagged and on my cell, so I'm sorry if the writing is not up to par. But I am livid at this super entitled parent that didn't give a shit about ruining a major life moment for almost 90 people. So, yesterday our dear friends got married in the most epic and intimate ceremony. They did allow children at this wedding, however the plan was to have the kids in the balcony space so that if someone needed to take a child out they could. I later confirmed this fact with the bride. Our group gets up to the ceremony and we're seated. We look around and notice we're surrounded in all sides by children under the age of 9. We're all child-freed by choice, so we were giving each other a little side-eye, but honestly, most of the kids were really good and their parents were able to non-verbally communicate to them when they needed to shush, and they got it. The ceremony starts and it seemed like all was going to be fine. The groom/bridal party walk in and we were all preparing for the bride when this kid behind us starts loudly whining to his mom to give him his cars. I want my cars, I want my cars. He was so demanding, and instead of her parenting him, she starts shuffling through her bag for his toys. Distracting, but whatever, maybe the car will shut him up. Bride walks in and the ceremony starts. It was a beautiful mix of religious traditions and creative additions of things that were meaningful. The entire time this kid is making loud noises and slamming his toys around. I had to cup my ear with my hand to hear the ceremony, and many others were turning around to look and see what the noise was about. Even the bridal party was looking around. Which you would think the mother would notice and get the memo to take her kid out. But no. He gets louder and louder screaming about his cars or whatever. His mom does nothing. Finally, during the point in the ceremony when the mother of the bride was trying to recite a blessing, a member of our party turned around and told the mom her child was being very disruptive and asked her to take him out. Which I was very grateful for. She huffed and puffed her way out finally, and we think this is over wrong. At the reception, this entitled mother stomps up to me. I was in the middle of an important catch-up convo. She demands to know who I am and who my friends were sitting next to me. I told her we're close friends of the bride and groom. She then demands to know our names. I told her, whatever. But then she marches around looking for my friend to ask her to leave, and when she found him, starts screaming F***CKU at him, telling all within earshot that she can't believe the bride and groom would be friends with such terrible people. I walked over and asked her what her real issue was, and she said it was my friend's tone. I told her that it was very disappointing that we missed the blessing because of her disruptive child. She is pointing her finger, waving her palms in my face, saying how it's her right to have her son there with her. Because of all the commotion, a friend of her comes up to see what's going on. The entitled mother goes on about how we attacked her. And her friend then actually says out loud, "Oh, I left my kid at home," with a chuckle. Then the entitled mother comes back at me with her sass hands and demands to know if I have kids. To which I chuckled and said no, thinking in my head, so that I can avoid shit like this. She then flicked her hand in my face and stomped away. This woman had no business having her child in the main ceremony room. She refused to honor the request to keep the children in the balcony, but also had no parental control like the other people with kids. Like, whatever, I'm just a friend, but I know the bridal party was having a hard time trying to concentrate during the ceremony due to this child. The audacity of this parent will forever be seared into the memory of this destination wedding for us. I mean, wow. This woman was top tier. Entitled. My wedding was nothing extravagant, just a backyard thing, but goddammit, it was mine. I'm using my /mine because /ours looked like I was saying everyone reading this got married to each other that day. To get back on point, I'd waited till I was 40 to find the right guy and finally have a wedding, so I was seriously pissed when his sister stood there with a smug look at me, I'm a mommy grin, and let her toddler scream bloody murder through the entire 5-minute ceremony. The officiator stopped and looked at her. I stopped and looked at her. My husband stopped and looked at her. We are in a backyard, sis, take the banshee inside. Husband knows quite well how much this pissed me off. I am still bitterly pissed off. I waited so long. I wanted no kids, but family. So in a few years, taking a bunch of people to the beach for vow renewal at sunset, renting however many houses necessary for a full week, paying all expenses. Sister isn't invited. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.